In today's video I'm going to tie a very simple but very useful nymph. It's Perdigon style nymph, and in this on this pattern I will show you a couple of tricks how to tie this fly, but you can of course apply it to other flies. And I'm gonna talk about jig of tungstens, which are not still as popular as they should be. First of all, I'm gonna start with hook, and hook is classic dry fly hook. I will show it later in the video. So literally classic dry fly hook, and the reason for that is purely like competition style thinking. It's thin wire that penetrates more easily through the fish's mouth, so it means that you will hook fish more easily. The reason to use jig of tungsten on this one is because it will invert classic jig hook, so that's very simple and straightforward. Then I'm using Vivas, and it's 830 in black, as you can see here. I like black thread, but you can use any other brand, that's okay. 830 because it was near me. You can use thinner if you want. This is on a thick side, and I'm going to use some purple tinsel here, but you can use crystal flesh as well, that's perfectly fine. You can't even call it substitute, it's perfectly, I mean, it's the same. I like this purple color because I think it attracts fish nicely. And yeah, for the tail, beautiful cocktail, which will not focus on, yeah, now it focuses on. So that's pretty straightforward, pretty simple, and let's hop into tying, and I will explain why I do the fly as such. So I will start with putting the tungsten bead onto the hook. So let me try to show you here that jig of tungsten has normal slot, normal hole from one side, and the other side has kind of an indent, and it's different. So I will place this side towards the hook eye, and the reason for that is pretty obvious, and I will show you in a couple of seconds. I can actually push like this. I can push the tungsten more towards the hook eye. Obviously it's not going to be like this, it's going to be inverted in water because of all of that weight that's offset. Now it almost looks like balanced kind of fly. It's not my intention, it's just my intention is to put it as much forward as I can. That's the reason why I have it here. The reason for the hook, using dry fly hook, is to penetrate more easily into fish's mouth, and that's it. Jig of tungsten, you can pack more of the weight on smaller flights. So this is a size 18, and Devin Olsen made a terrific video recently about hook size, how most manufacturers don't have proper measures for hooks. They just say this is 16 and then you get what you get. So this is, let me just measure it. Okay, this is 9.2 millimeters in length. So this is more accurate than just saying it's 16. That's quite obvious. Now for the thread, I'm going to use this Vivas that can be flattened, and it's 830. And first thing I'm gonna show you here is how I like to secure these tungsten beads. So I'll push it to thread back. It's a little bit frayed over here, so I'll just skip it. So push it against, make a couple of wraps over here, preferably with flat thread. Cut the excess. Now again, every once in a while you want to counterspin the bobbin holder to make the thread flat. You can see it's wider over here. Go back, and now as if you were mounting dumbbell eyes on some saltwater fly, let's say, make figure of eights around the hook shank, around the hook eye and hook shank, and over the tungsten, using as much pressure as you can allow yourself for this thread. And then make a couple of more wraps than previous time, making taper over here, and then go back, and then 1, 2, and then go back. I want to back up here because I need to flatten the thread, and as you can see I got myself a very nice taper over here. Next step is to add some coq de lion. I'll just pull out a couple of barbs, align the tips, and that's it. Now for this purpose I'll go back with a hook, counterspin the bobbin holder, 1, 2, 3, relatively loose wraps, and then pull everything upwards. If it gets messed up, you can still correct it, but pull upwards because it's less likely that you're going to spin the tail around the hook. Then loose wrap, tighten towards up, and then if everything is right, I'm gonna cut coq de lion. I will attach this tinsel. You can use crystal flash, as I said. Now what I want to do is I want to attach it from this side, and it's easiest to do that if I'm inverting the hook. And then just oopsie, okay, it's here. Now just pull it out, and then nice wraps, counterspin the bobbin holder, make it flat, make the body, underbody, make it very smooth. And with nice wraps towards me, pull up to pull down. In this instance it's a little bit different because I'm doing it sideways. I am attaching this tinsel without rotating it. Now the reason why I attach this tinsel from my far side is going to be pretty obvious now. I'm going to go down, and you can notice that I'm not touching the tails, and then here I can just go over the thread without again touching the tails, and in very dense wraps or slightly overlapping the tinsel, I'll cover the body, well, underbody. And the reason why I have it smooth is because if I didn't, wrapping this tinsel in one layer without threads showing through would be royal pain. And that's it. Now 1, 2 wraps should be plenty. Tighten, cut the excess here as close as you can. Now with flat thread, just do a whip finish knot and you're done, almost. I'll just use my tool here. 1, 2, 3. Okay. There is a nice neat trick how to cut the thread. Pull it up, and with your scissors just press against the thread, and it will go under, it will tuck under the wraps, so you won't see the tag end. This is finished fly. The only thing is to do is to just finish it off with some UV, and I like this applicator with this like tube like thing. It's easier if I add UV just here at the beginning and then push it towards the end. For that I usually use my dubbing needle. I lean my left hand on the vise, make it very stable, and I use my thumb as something that's very reliable, and I lean my right hand on my left hand, and that's how I have steady hands. My hands are not as steady as they seem on those videos. I just know how to use everything around me. Okay, when I'm satisfied, I'll just flash it with light and call it done. Now those flies are amazing, and they are really worthwhile having in our boxes. I know that they don't look very fishy, but they are very purposeful flies. They are meant to go down quickly, and usually they're meant to be fished small. These flies should be small usually. Obviously you can make them in any size you like, but they're usually made small, fished with very thin tippets, and in very fast waters and deep waters. So guys, that would be it. If you like this video, please give it a like, subscribe, and see you next week.